time. We're going to talk about time today. So hello. Welcome. I'm so excited to share with you all sorts of time mastery secrets today on this training. So let me ask you a question. As a creative entrepreneur, have you found at times that weeks can go by and you wonder what in the world you've even accomplished, or what in the world it is that you've even gotten done, or have you even made headway on your goals? I know I've been in that situation many times. And sometimes I've even looked back and said, what have I even done the last 90 days? I've been so busy, yet I don't know if I've actually moved forward in my goals. So if time is something that you feel like you're grappling with in some way, shape, or form with your business, you are in the right place. Here's the reality. Time is our only non-renewable resource. We have three big resources: money, time, and energy. We can always find ways to make more money, even though it might not always feel that way. We can always get rest and fuel our body so we have more energy. But time, we can't get back. The time that ticks on the clock, we can't get back. So it's so crucial to really be able to grow your business to the level of success that you want, that you really play with time consciously. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the three different categories of time and how to schedule them. We're going to talk about the number one category that is crucial to your success. And then we're going to talk about our years and how to really plan for our years based on your unique cycles and how to really find the flow with your cycles. Okay, let's get to it. Like I said, there's a certain way that you can play with your time to maximize it, considering that it is the one thing that we can't get back. And we can find ourselves distracted and taking action on things that, while fun, may not move our business forward. So I want to start with the three categories of time. So the first type of time that you want to schedule out and what you want to chunk on your calendar. So you don't want your calendar to be like a little bit of this kind of time and a little bit of that category of time and a little bit of that category of time. You want to create your calendar each week in a way that your time is chunked between these three categories. So the first one is flex time. So what is flex time? Flex time is the time that you are doing delivery of your coaching services or of your business services. It's the time that you are doing the errands, you're doing your sales calls, you're doing your invoicing, you're doing all of the logistical kind of busy, have to do business work of your business. That's considered flex time. Flex time can also be applied to your private life. This is when you're getting groceries, when you're paying bills, all of the to-do list things goes into your flex time. So again, it may not be stuff that's hard, but it's ultimately stuff that it's just got to get done. You know, you got to do certain things in your business, you got to do certain things in your personal life, and it's making sure you got the time carved out. Now, if you are still working on the transition from full-time employee to entrepreneur, your job is flex time. So you're going to see you've got a ton of flex time in your calendar. And it's going to be even more important for you to be very diligent with your time to build your business outside of your flex time in your job. I'm going to share with you how one of my clients is doing this, not even on a week-by-week basis, but on a monthly basis as she's making the transition from her full-time work into full-time entrepreneurship. But before I go there, you can color code your flex time and you can actually have a visual representation of how much of your time is really devoted to this flex time. So that's the first type of time. I think you guys all get that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Anything that's kind of errandsy, has to be done on the to-do list, goes in your flex time. Now, the second kind of time is your free time. Oh my goodness, right? So here's the thing about these times is we don't want them to merge together. You know, we don't want them to blend into each other. We want it to be really clear. When you're in flex time, you are focused on your flex time. You're not out there trying to have a dance party at the same time. You're getting your ish done, right? Now, when you're in your free time, you want to focus on your free time. Business is shut off and down. To-do list is shut off and down. So this is your fun time, your free time. For me, this is my family time. For some of you, it's your family time. It's my time with friends. It's the downtime. It's really the downtime for having this free time. Wendy, what is this free time you speak of? Gotta find some, girl, because this is the key to the balance and the free time and using all of these times together, right? Using all of these times together is what creates the balance and actually sets up the manifestation stuff that we spend a lot of time talking about in this group. because we need the free time, because free time is fun time. And when we're having fun and feeling good about how we're spending our time, we automatically become more productive in our flex time. So things take less time during the flex time that they would normally take. So find some of that free time, Wendy. Okay, the third category of time is focus time. Focus time is this goes bye-bye, nowhere near you. This is the time where you can be creatively journaling, you can be in meditation, you can be learning, you can be reading. This is your time to focus on the bigger vision. This is where you are dreaming and you're creating with your imagination. This is your creative time. So if you've got creative projects you really want to work with on, maybe you're creating a course or maybe you want to write a book. This is the focus time. We're not worried about our to-do list. We don't have even the distractions of fun or family around us. It's the time for you to focus on your creative outlets, your creative projects. This is the time when you can find yourself in flow. So this flow space, this is the time that usually people, when they get overwhelmed or they're confused or they really have big goals they want to accomplish, that they put this one on the back burner. That's a big no-no, because actually focus time is the secret to the most successful entrepreneurs on the face of this planet, because it's during focus time that the creative downloads come and your literally $1 million ideas come. So Charlotte, I'm not going to blow the lid on your thing. Charlotte's here with us today. I got to find you quick, Charlotte. She's coming to the event too. So Charlotte, in her creative focus time, uncovered this powerful way to do sales. And it's like never been innovated in this way before. And it's completely transforming her business. So that's an example of these $1 million ideas that can come when we spend and give ourselves permission to be in focus time, right? So crucial. So let me just kind of share with you how this is playing out for me right now. I have some really exciting projects on the docket. In addition to the live event coming, we're creating some really innovative, fun funnels ultimately. And so right now, my calendars, I have most of Thursdays, except for obviously when I'm doing this training, Thursdays and Fridays, 2 full days in my business week are focus time right now, because I have this creative stuff really brewing and flowing, and I want to really create because I'm so excited about what's happening in our business right now. So that's 2 whole days of focus time. Now, I know not all of you have the luxury for that, but again, you can start to plan ahead to set your business up so that you can ensure that you're not taking on more of a client load that interferes with your ability to really have that focus time. So that's the 3 categories of time. And again, just think about, when are you able to be tapped in and creative? Like what times a day? So for me, it's almost always focus time on Monday mornings and Friday mornings. And then the flex time, like just an example of my calendar, I front load my week. So I go Monday afternoons, I have a mastermind, and then private clients schedule in Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And now again, Thursdays and Fridays, I try to keep more light. And so I front load my week because I'm coming off the weekend, which is all my fun time. Coming off my weekend, I'm refreshed. Then I get my focus time, my big vision for the week. This is just an example of how I'm structuring my time every single week. And then I go into sales and the delivery, Monday afternoon through Wednesday. And then Thursday's a little bit open, but generally now it's focus time. And then Friday is focus time. And then Friday afternoons are generally reserved. Now that my kids are back to school, and you all know how that goes if you've got kids. Now that my kids are back to school, Friday afternoons I call them I Love Me Fridays. So Friday afternoons are more free time, where I get to just pour into myself. I get to go have lunch by myself. I get to maybe go get a massage. I get to go for a walk, like smell the roses, like just do things that pour into myself before I get into my really busy weekends with my family. So that's just an example of how you can use your own life, the busyness of your life and what you have going on with these 3 times categories. Where do client calls and consults fit in? Great question, Renee. Client calls, and Charlotte had the same exact question. Client calls and sessions are flex time. The delivery of your services is flex time. So, and doing these Facebook Lives, for me, so this is interesting. This kind of goes from flex focus. So setting it all up in the logistics is flex time. What I'm learning about myself in human design and why I do these trainings in the way that I do and how all of you get to witness it is most of my creativity comes from speaking. And so these Facebook Lives for me are a blend between focus and flex, depending on exactly where my energy is at. Now, clearly there's nothing else going on. This isn't a to-do list for me. Yeah, it's an important part of my marketing and sharing my message. So that's what makes it flex. However, I don't do them. And the reason why you guys haven't seen me here the last probably 3 weeks is I don't do Facebook Lives unless I'm fully inspired. I don't do them just because I have to do them. I do them when I feel inspired to do them. So Facebook Lives for me feel more like focus time than they do like flex time. So good questions. But your client delivery, your client sessions, your sales calls, all of that is flex. So most of you are going to have a lot of flex time. Your marketing activities, all of that stuff goes into flex. Jackie, front load your week 2 and color code your appointments. Awesome. And not having the focus time. It's a huge, gosh, it's so important. You guys probably hear me say a lot. Sometimes we got to slow down to speed up. That's one of the big premises of the Wealthy Minimalist is you slow down to speed up. And that's what focus time does, is it allows us to connect to the real goals and what we really, really want to accomplish. And those creative downloads and all of those things get us focused for our flex time and make us more productive throughout the entire week. So that's how you can set up your weeks. Now, I wanted to share with you one of my clients synchronistically. We just had a session last night and she goes, I'm doing something really interesting with my time. She's actually setting up her flex, focus, and free time in week spans. So I'm just going to share what she shared with me because I found it so fascinating. And this might work for some of you. What she's doing is 1 week out of every month is doing her content creation. This is her focus time. This is her creative downloads. This is where she's coming up with the content she wants to create for YouTube videos, for writing blogs, all of that stuff. And what she said about using focus time in this way is she said it's almost like she romanticizes it. So she can see being an author and just hiding away for a week to say, write a book. So she puts all of her focus time into 1 week. And again, she has a full-time job. So she's really, really diligent with her time. And so she's trying this month schedule as opposed to weekly schedule with her time. I'm sure she still creates some free time in there too. But then she said she does another week that is all free time. She shuts her business off completely and only focuses on fun, connections, hanging out with friends, going for walks, doing the things that are just fun for her. So that's her free time. And then another week she focuses on all of her marketing stuff. So now she's got all of her content, she's uploading it, she's editing it, she's like doing all the busy work, she's got her client delivery. And that's how she's scheduling her month. At least that's how she's playing with it now. So some of this balance can happen on a weekly basis and some of it can happen on a monthly basis. Maybe you schedule your time both on a weekly basis as well as a monthly basis. So just start playing with the structures of your own time and start feeling into it. And then there's always flexibility in it. You can always shift and change. Like if all of a sudden you're like, I'm just not really making time for this, then you can start uncovering, why aren't you making time for focus time? What are you telling yourself that is making it hard for you to make that a priority, right? So you can start doing some self-coaching around your time to ensure that you're truly honoring all 3 of them. Or why is it that you catch yourself still checking email when you're in your free time with your family, right? Guilty right here. Guilty. My clients will vouch for that. Like, why are you responding to me on the weekend? So this is something that's always evolving and changing. And there's always room for us to get even tighter with our time boundaries and really honoring our time in this way by paying a lot of attention to it. Okay, so that's your weeks and your months. Now let's talk about the year. Okay, so this is a really interesting and really why I was inspired to share this time mastery stuff with you all at this stage. I had an epiphany about a week ago that my year doesn't run January to December. My year actually runs September 1 to August 31. So I want you to think about, when does your business year actually start? And think about, when do you feel really inspired and motivated to ramp things up, to turn the page in your business, to step into the next year? Because, this was such a huge epiphany for me, because I would usually get to September when I feel like really ramping things up. And then I'd be like, oh, there's only months left in the year. And I would just be in this weird space between September and January. And when all of a sudden I realized that my year starts in September. And here's the main reason why my year starts in September. And those of you that have kids in school, it may be the same for you. But I have 2 kids in school and my husband's a teacher, which means come June 1st, my house is full of people. It is just like cram-packed with people and activities and doorbells and just lots of stuff going on here. And I always knew I wanted to set up my schedule in a way that I could take the majority of my time off in the summer so I could be with my family. So I know August essentially is off limits. The activities are done. I have an entire month of just mostly fun. If you were to look at my schedule for August, I have my fulfillment, but ultimately I shut down the rest of my business. I shut down sales calls. I shut down all parts of my business so I can just fully soak in the last pieces of summer with my family before everybody leaves. So how I'm able to do that with my year starting September 1 instead of January 1 is I front load my entire year. So I front load my business. And this is something I finally figured out last year after being in business for, I don't know, like 8 years, to truly ramp everything up, build the business to the level that I want to build it so that I can coast the last 3 months of my business, the business year, right? So start thinking about, when do you turn the page in your business? That's one of your cycles in your annual year. Now, here's the other thing to start thinking about as a whole annually. Here's the deal. In business, there will always be feast and famine months. We can talk about consistently generating clients, but you'll find if you reflect back, there are certain months of every year that it feels almost like a cocooning or a marinating or a brewing, or you just don't really feel like going all in your business. And for me, I know that those months are February, they're August, and November. There's 3 months where I'm just like, just not really actively building out new things and actively building out new ways to generate clients and leads and the impact that I want to make. And so start thinking about your own year, because it'll be really interesting. So then there's other months where it's like, oh my goodness, there's these huge influxes of cash flow and things feel effortless and the action's inspiring and the action's exciting. And so for me, one of the biggest months in my business is always December. Totally makes no sense to me. Everybody's consumed usually with the holidays and breaks and all of that. But for some reason, in my own flow and how I'm built, December is a huge manifesting month for me. So start thinking, when do the months feel easy? The money or the clients or the opportunities? And even if you're new in business, start looking back. Reflecting back, when I did this and I started inventorying my life cycle, I started inventorying when I got this job and when I got that job and when I had this baby and when big life things were happening. And I found out that they were all happening in the spring, like they were all happening around the same time. So there's these cycles that can happen in your year. And when you're aware of them, then when you're in that cocooning or clients aren't coming in and you feel some financial worry coming in or you feel some fear coming in around money, you can just know everything waxes and wanes. Everything contracts and expands. And a contraction is necessary for the expansion. And so we can just understand that it's a part of our process, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that we're never going to make more money again. It doesn't mean that we're falling backwards. It doesn't mean anything. And so often when we're in that phase of not really feeling like doing some of the things that we felt like doing the month before, we can get hard on ourselves and we can start to question ourselves, and the doubts can seep in and all those inner critics can rear their heads. And move into acceptance in those months, because they're crucial for the slingshot into the other months. So yes, yes, yes. Oh yes, Marsha. Of course, our cultural traditions, our spiritual traditions also affect our cycles. Like they are ingrained to our core. And so take into account that as well. Shazia, feels like time to let things go when aren't working and invite things that are. What I love about what you're saying here is that this time of contraction, a lot of times is the time of release. So as we're releasing, we're creating the space for all of the new to come in. And if we don't allow for that space and what our bodies and souls and minds are calling for, then we also don't allow for the next opportunities to come in and fill that space. And we keep pushing the same thing, even when we're ready for the next level. So I'm guessing that's what you're referring to. Okay, so I want to leave you all with something like, one, actionable, like start thinking about how you want to chunk your focus free and flex time. So your focus free and flex time, you don't want it to be an hour of focus time and then an hour of flex time and then an hour of focus time. Chunk it so that you got big chunks of time to really get into the category of time that you're using. Then we're talking about the annual cycle. So the second takeaway or the second action step for you to actually take the information and implement it. information without implementation doesn't serve you or support your business. So we're talking about action here and how to move the information forward for your own business, is to start reflecting back and take a look at your cycles, take a look at annually, even just the last 5 years. Maybe it's even taking a look at when the biggest changes happened for you and start seeing if there's some patterns there that you can anticipate. And the goal of that is to really allow you to keep that peace of mind no matter what's happening in the months of your business or in the months of your life, knowing that they're all serving a powerful purpose and that we don't need to catastrophize it, that it's all completely normal and a part of our cycles, and that everything expands and contracts. And when you're aware of it, you can be in the contraction and accept it and actually use it for what it's there for, which is releasing, connecting to yourself, hiding away, just creating the space for the next thing when the expansion comes in. Okay, so that's the big takeaway. So I want to know, what are your big takeaways? What are you going to do? What are you going to put into action right away so that you can maximize your time for more success, be more conscious with your time, and really ensure that you're honoring how you love to spend your time in all of those areas. Renee, you blend them too much and then you get overwhelmed. Of course, when you feel like you're all over the place, and even think about even how you're opening up your calendar for your clients to schedule in. I know for me, even if I consider client time and sales calls as flex time, I really like to keep this chunk of time is for sales calls and this chunk of time is for client calls, because I'm in a different place when I'm coaching versus when we're doing enrollment conversations and I'm diagnosing and assessing whether or not I can help somebody, right? They're two totally different energetics. So I don't even like to mix, okay, right now I have a sales call and then I have a client, and then I have a sales call and then I have a client. I like to even keep that organized, because just keeping my energetic really pure for everything that I'm doing for those chunks of time. And then the only thing is sticking with it, which admittedly, sometimes I'm not the best at. But as you do, especially that focus time and especially that free time. And if any of you want to have I Love Me Friday afternoons, just know there'd be a whole crew of us just out having a heyday, just pouring into ourselves in that free time. That's not always about our families or our friends or the other things that are in our life that also fill in our free time, but like truly free time, fun and play just for you. Okay, so that is all I got for you guys today. I'm going to be back next week. I just had an inspired idea leading up to this training. For a training next week, I'm going to be teaching you guys the 2 ways to consume content. There's another way to consume content in addition to the way that you already are that amplifies your learning times 1,000. So I'm going to share that next week. So sit tight. There'll be another training coming. And I think that's everything. Everybody go out, have an amazing time with your calendar, and really maximize that incredible resource that's given to you. Mwah! That's it for today. Bye.